this time around, compared to 2019, uh, I don't know, I just feel more reason to be optimistic. Debo's more experienced, Fred Warner's more experienced, Nick Bosa's more experienced, Kittle is, taken off. Purdy is a more put together, calmer Jimmy Garoppolo and some. Uh, CMC is better than Mostert. And I mean, Tevin Coleman is a little bit above Elijah Mitchell, but honestly, like it's going to be CMC probably the whole game, other than, asking to come out to take a breather like he did against Detroit, which I don't imagine he'll do during the Super Bowl. But I don't know, it just feels a little different. Like every time Jimmy G took the field in the Super Bowl, like I love the guy to death, but like I kind of just sit there and worry a little bit, you know. I'm like, can he do it? Can he do it? And try to
It's funny.
have as much faith as possible. And I think Ayuk is a little bit better. Well, Ayuk is better than Sanders. I just think there's a lot of reason to, you know, feel a little bit more optimistic than last time. I don't know about their secondary. I mean, their secondary I felt was a lot better in 2019 with K'Wan Williams and Emmanuel Mosley. I think Jaquiski Tart was on the team. He left the team briefly for a little bit, and he came back in 2021 or 2020. I can't remember, but I don't know. I don't remember that he was on the team in 2019. He might have been, and I just dreamt the part about him leaving for a little bit. But anyway, um, I just feel a little bit more optimistic this time. The Chiefs' offense isn't as great as it was. However, Mahomes is still making do with it with it. There's no Tyreek Hill to worry about, but Rashee Rice is still, something to worry about, but he's not Tyreek Hill, if you know what I mean. Their defense is better, but I think I don't know. There's just so much. I just feel a little bit more optimistic and a little bit more comfortable this time around. I'm just, hoping Shanahan makes the right moves when they're up by, or if they're up, not when. Don't get me karma. But like if they're up, because Shanahan historically with a lead, just doesn't know how to hold it. So I'm gonna cry either way if they lose or win. So looking
Same here.
forward to it.
I'd love to be in your
Yeah,
situation. It's always good to have your team playing for that, for that.
yeah.
Right? But this is what I would say. Ultimately, like you said, if you want to compare the 49ers 2024 compared to 2019, I think you guys are very much more a well-rounded team. You go from the running game to the offensive pieces. Maybe you guys have taken a slight bit of a step back on the defensive side. Just the dominance of your secondary, like you mentioned, maybe has taken a step back. Maybe half a step back is the proper analogy for that. But ultimately, the offense has taken, two steps forward with the addition of McCaffrey, Debo playing like uh, an all-star, all-pro guy, Kittle, Ayuk playing like, a grown man now. All of that is just, and like you said, of course, Brock Purdy playing with that calm poise that we're talking about. I mean, me and Markos were talking early before the season started about how poise is one of the best indicators that one of the best aspects that I want from my quarterback. If he doesn't have that poise, that leads to uncertainty in the biggest moments, and that's the last thing you want from your starting quarterback, especially with all of those offensive pieces and weapons that you have around him. All you need is a game manager that can make the plays, and even he was getting a bad rep about how he can't play from behind, and he's able to do that now twice back to back against the Packers, against the Lions. So shout out to Brock Purdy, proving his haters wrong, doing a lot more with his feet that might be able to be the key against the Chiefs as well. And you guys definitely have like a chance to win this whole thing. But ultimately, what I've been beating around the bush with is just Patrick Mahomes is, I think, outside of Tom Brady, the best and most scariest quarterback that I've ever seen in my life. When it comes down to it, even if you give him a minute and 30 seconds, he will get down there. He will pick your defense apart. Even with the lackluster pieces he has, all of his guys are just prone to stepping up, from Kelsey to, a rookie Rice. Pacheco's running like a monster. I think that's going to be the name of the game for the first three quarters. Is going to be Isaiah Pacheco against the interior defensive line against Chase Young and those folks in the front. If they're able to slow down if they're able to slow him down from the very beginning, I think you guys' chance of winning goes up drastically because there's just a feeling that teams get and opposing quarterbacks get when Patrick Mahomes has a 10-point lead over them. All of a sudden, they start getting the jitters a little bit, and they're not playing as smoothly as they should. And we've seen this with Lamar Jackson last week. We saw it you could maybe even say um, with Josh Allen 2 weeks ago. So ultimately, you have to take it slowly. And if you guys allow the Packers, the Chiefs to get up to that lead, it's going to be really hard to come back from them. They won't be making mistakes. I think I seen something that said Patrick Mahomes hasn't thrown an interceptable ball in the last two postseasons. So not an interception, but a ball that is even able to be intercepted. Like that's the level of quarterbacking play that you guys are up against. The guy that doesn't make mistakes, the guy that's not willing to give you guys an inch. So ultimately, if Pacheco gets it going early, um, it's going to be a long day for you guys. So I think the keys of the game for the 49ers is to stop the running game early. Don't go down by more than 10 points by halftime and play calm and poised football, and you guys can win the whole thing. But ultimately, your defense, I mean, your offense is going to need to make plays.
Yeah, and going off the interceptable ball play, like I remember like the last drive with Green Bay when well no Green okay so Greenlaw had two picks in that game, but I remember I think it was like a tip pass or something. I don't remember, but anyway, I was like, Love hasn't had that stupid throw yet. Love hasn't. I mean, it's gonna happen here. I know it is. I know it is. You know what I mean? Like Goff too. Like Goff hasn't thrown his stupid throw yet. Like it's Purdy already had his stupid throw. Like Mahomes doesn't have those stupid throw moments. That everybody like banks on to happen. So like that's another like reason you're nervous because it's like Mahomes is not gonna have his stupid throw. He's not gonna make a play to lose the game. You know what I mean? So that's just the worry that like overwhelms you. And also with Purdy too, like you're like it's fourth quarter and it's like 20-24. It's like, yeah, Purdy's clutch, but I don't know. He hasn't had this stupid throw yet.
And
So
I'm curious to see how those jitters that I talked about affect Brock, you know. He seems,
yeah,
but I still think he's more prone to throw interceptions. There's throws that he can't make, and Spagnuolo is going to bring the blitz almost more than the majority of the time. So how he handles that blitz, and he's handled it pretty well to his credit this year. So it's not something I'm like overly concerned about, but I am in the sense when you combine that blitz with the jitters of being down 10 to Patrick Mahomes on the other side awaiting the ball. Now how does that make you feel on 3rd and 12? You know? So like it's those situations where I'm really fearful for the 49ers and Brock Purdy. In that 3rd and 12 where he knows he's about to give it back to Patrick Mahomes down by 10 in the third quarter, midway through the third quarter, like I think those are the situations where he throws an interception, makes a bad throw, makes a little risky of a throw, attempts to be the hero, which he, to his credit, this is not him. The aspects, the guy that I'm, referring to right now is not the guy that I've seen in Brock Purdy. He's not the guy to be acting like a hero and make those risks. But when you have that Patrick Mahomes on the opposite side and that defense is suffocating, like you'll start making those risks. You'll start doing that thing when the lights are the brightest. So, man, McCaffrey's the guy that can help him out here. He's the guy who can bail him out here. If McCaffrey goes for 100 yards and two touchdowns, that's the game ball in my opinion.
oh my God, I'm already feeling the nerves now.
I,
You know what I'm saying? Like
I will.
everything is
I
shaking right
got the
now.
team pretty well on that one. I can't lie.
Yeah.
Um, I will say
Oh,
though,
I wish I could.
yeah, I don't think Brock Purdy is like the type of quarterback like you said. He's so wise beyond his years. Like just everything I've been seeing from him in the media this year, like he's not phased by any of that outside external noise. He's not trying to be Josh Allen or anything like that. He's just trying to put himself in position to succeed, and he's so just even keeled throughout all the adversity. He doesn't feel any of it. It just seems like, which is what Zach was kind of saying about the difference between him and Garoppolo. So I think you won't have much of that with Brock Purdy trying to get outside of himself, even if the game might seem out of hand. I mean, they dealt with it the past 2 weeks, and he just seemed poised through it all. So regardless of having a quarterback like Mahomes on the other side, I think the 49ers have enough weapons to give the Chiefs defense problems. And I still think the Chiefs defense, didn't get everything from the Ravens offense last week. I mean, I feel like the Ravens offense underperformed,
Mhm.
and I still think that the Chiefs offense is going to give them the most fits that they've had. Um, the 49ers offense is going to give them the most fits that they've had this playoff run. So that's something I'm looking at. Christian McCaffrey's had big days in the past couple playoff games. He's been able to help them get out of these holes, and whatever they can say whatever they want about that Ayuk catch last week off of the helmet. I mean, hey man, whatever it takes to shift momentum, that's what's going to happen, you know. So I think it was the Super Bowl 55 when they had their last matchup where that there was a shift in momentum. Might have been after the push off from Kittle. I don't know if that's what you would say, Zach, but there's definitely moments in the game where momentum shifts, and I think it's how you respond to that. And some quarterbacks get shaky, some don't. I don't think any of these quarterbacks in this game are going to do that. But yeah, for the 49ers, ultimate takeaways from this playoff run, like hard fought path to get to this game, coming back from two deficits to be in this at this point. I think their rush defense has been a problem though, allowing big time performances out of Aaron Jones in the divisional round, and then Jahmyr Gibbs and
Yeah.
David Montgomery in the NFC Championship. And I think even Jameson Williams, that was a rushing touchdown the first drive of the game, right? That was a rushing
Yeah,
touchdown.
yeah,
That's an end around sort of play, right? So it was a rushing touchdown. So I'm seeing that they're allowing 160 yards per game in these two playoff games on average. So, when you're coming against a Chiefs team that's heavily reliant on Pacheco with their run game, and he's had success, I think that's something you have to look to for the D line uh, of the 49ers, which Yossef brought up, and something that they have to, look at and make sure that they uh, improve on that end. Definitely don't want to go down early again in this game against a Chiefs team that's, ticking on all cylinders at the moment. And then, yeah, I think it's going to be a sort of like a game of chess, I would say, between Shanahan and Spagnuolo of, the defensive prowess of that Chiefs defensive coordinator Spagnola, and then offensively what the the offense can throw at you. It's just you never know what to expect. Who's going to have their big play? It might be Ayuk, it might be Kittle, um, it might be Debo or a CMC. So I think it's just going to be a chess match all game long, and whoever's able to withstand all that is going to be the winner, I would say. And then on the Chiefs side of it, again, coming on, two road games, coming through the wild card round, it's not easy to, do what they've been doing, but got to this point again. Kelsey, another successful playoff, run this year. I got his stats pulled up: 23 catches for 262 yards and three touchdowns in just 3 games. So that he's been impressive. And then Pacheco, 254 yards, three touchdowns in 3 games. So he's pretty much scoring a touchdown a game. So I think that's really the X factors is those two, and then the other complementary guys, like I've mentioned, have been able to step up as well, not being liabilities, really like dropping passes and making it tougher on the Chiefs offense to execute. And going through the Dolphins, going through the Bills, and going through the Ravens is no easy path whatsoever. So definitely, Chiefs have deserved to get to this point, and I think the biggest thing I'd look at for the Chiefs, even though they have all that going for them with the defense and the offense, is they haven't encountered as much adversity in this playoff run, being down in games or anything like that. So although the Bills game was kind of, pretty much a shootout till the end, I think they haven't encountered as much as adversity, definitely not as much as San Fran. So how would they respond in those moments, is what I'm looking to see, if that is the case in this game. But yeah, I think it's, these are the two best teams in the NFL. No doubt about it. So it's going to be a good matchup, but you guys can build off of that and then, go with your scores after.
I think one thing that was interesting that you mentioned is the adversity piece at the end. I'm not really worried about Patrick Mahomes, of course, when it comes to adversity.
Yeah.
But you do make a good point about the other guys. Ray Rice, Rashid Rice is a rookie. Never been to the Super Bowl, never been to the playoffs. Never had these lights on him ever before. So how does he respond when the going goes tough, when the momentum is shifted towards the 49ers angle? Does he let the ball go off his hands and And Patrick Mahomes records his first interception of the last couple of weeks, maybe. How does Travis Kelce, a guy who was inexistent in the regular season, going down the stretch there, turn it on in the playoffs when or if the 49ers decide to keen in on him and take him out of the game, how does he respond? These are all questions that I actually do have outside Patrick Mahomes, and those are points where I think the 49ers could take advantage. So, that's a scary, that is scary for the 49ers. I mean, for the Chiefs, but ultimately, man, in Mahomes, I trust, and I'm excited to see, greatness happen. This might be one of the craziest runs that he's ever had, finishing off with one of the best teams in the NFL, and with the 49ers, of course. Like we said, a great run that he's had. So, with the least amount of offensive weapons that he's had in his tenure. So, I'm eager to see how this goes. I think this will be a relatively low scoring game. I don't think it'll go in the 30s at all. Final score, I have Patrick Mahomes just putting up 24 points, 49ers putting up 21.
All right. Now I told Markos I wasn't gonna do this, but why not?
Hey.
Yeah.
Commitment.
Um, so I don't know. I don't really have much else to say, other than what I said earlier. I mean, you hope that the Niners can, do it a third time, much like the Chiefs did back in 2019, come from behind, twice and or all three times in the playoffs, the divisional round, championship game, and Super Bowl. And, they rewrite history, but the script is flipped. Um, you know, the objective for the Niners is Isaiah Pacheco is the Super Bowl MVP, you know? So, um, that being said, no, I'm joking.
Hey.
I'm joking. I was just wanted to freak everybody out.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Niners winning this one 27-20. I don't know, I just have a really good feeling. Um, you know, uh, yeah, not much else to say. I mean, I don't want to sound arrogant or, eat my words in the future, but
Yeah. Good luck
I
to you.
I just feel a little better. That's about it about this time around. So,
Good luck.
Okay.
yeah. And, to be honest with you, going into the Lions game, I was like, to be honest with you, like if they lose this game, like yeah, I'll be upset, but honestly, I'll be relieved because like, a lot of the times, like I'll be honest with you, like, yeah, it's fun to watch them like, go this far and win, but like, oh my God, it's just a lot of nerve. Like, I don't know, maybe it's just me as a person, how I handle like stress and anxiety and all that stuff, but like, oh my God, sometimes it's just not fun. But I mean, obviously, the results, is rewarding and, you know, euphoric, but yeah.
As a lifelong Vikings fan, we can switch places whenever you're ready.
Yeah, we can't relate.
I did that. I did that back in 2011. Don't worry. I'm not afraid to admit it. But
For sure.
yeah, I switched places because I was annoyed of like, you know, I was annoyed of like just the mediocrity and like I don't know the 2009 NFC Championship game. I thought that was like the most heartbroken I've ever was gonna be, and then switching teams to the 49ers and going through I don't know, 4 or 5 heartbreaks in the NFC Championship game, and then one Super Bowl heartbreak. Like that was God saying, "No, you're not escaping. You're not escaping me this time. You're gonna have these heartbreaks whether you like it or not." So you
Mhm.
know,
Hey,
it
man.
is what it is.
Colin Kaepernick was fun to watch, so I don't
Yeah,
blame
for sure.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
All
me,
right.
it's tough. I mean, like I said, these two teams have been really good all year. I'd say actually take that back. Not the Chiefs, but the Chiefs are really good when it matters. Like that's what matters the most, and they've shown that they're still the best team in the AFC. And then the 49ers, number one seed, obviously, but just the fact that they were able to deal with adversity shows you that, they are a Super Bowl team and the most consistent team, I would say, in the NFC for the past, like, what, 5 years at least. So,
Hmm.
I like what they're doing. and I like what they're doing at the moment. But for me, I'm gonna say Chiefs win this one 33-27. I know it's tough, but I think it's gonna be a little bit of a shootout. But at the same time, I think the defenses are gonna have an impact. I just think it might be a little bit of a flurry towards the end, where teams are kind of getting their groove and the defenses are becoming less of a factor. But uh, yeah, I think I trust that Steve Spagnuolo get a little bit more than Steve Wilkes to operate his defense and,
Oh
and
my
do what
God,
he's
yeah.
doing. So just a little bit. I think that's just gonna be a deciding factor. And yeah, another Super Bowl for the Chiefs is what I have in mind for this one, and the Taylor Swift fans are gonna definitely eat that up.
Yeah, did you see the last year I think there was 120 million people who watched nationally, domestically here in the US. They're predicting over 200 million people to watch. That's more than two-thirds of the population of the United States tuning into that game. And that has to be solely on the Swifties, increasing that
Hey,
number
bro,
by
yeah.
Hmm.
I saw Goodell talk about it. He was just like talking about the business side of it. It's like, yeah, it's good for the league, and he was just fully endorsing it. And you know how the fans feel about it. The football fans don't like Taylor Swift's involvement, showing her on the TV all the time, but it's just from a purely business marketing perspective. You're seeing the views all these TikTok videos, social media videos have with Taylor Swift on them, and it's good to just get a different segment of or just different crowd of people just tuned into football, young women and things like that. So all the Swifties coming in, definitely helping the business side of it. But I think it's good that the NFL is getting these viewers.
yeah,
Hmm.
definitely doesn't hurt in my opinion.
Hmm.
Yeah. And if
I'm
it
going
does
to,
bother
I
you,
wouldn't,
if it bothers you, just change the channel, look away for a little bit, and then once they're off the screen, just watch again.
I'm grown to, I wouldn't say like it, but I've grown to like not really care. I mean, it is what it is, who cares
Yeah.
at this point? Like, I think
It is
Colin Coward said, I can't remember if it was on a recent show or whatever. He was like, all these fans that like after the Kaepernick, thing going on, everybody's like, well, I'm not watching anymore. And he was like, okay, see you in a year. And like, it's almost the same thing, but not, exactly. Like people are like, I'm doing watching the NFL with the Taylor Swift crowd. And
Hmm.
I think, and they've had seen a growing viewership of like, I think 12 to 17-year-olds and then 35 and up.
Mm.
Um, I think within young women, I don't know how they get, the gender stats, but like, you know what I mean? But um, yeah, it's great for the league 100%. And, you know, business side of it. I think it's entertaining regardless, but